Now, there's another part of your story in numbers, which is your market assessment. And what you're doing for that is you're looking for this is basically a very, very simple marketing plan. So when you talk about business plans, for example, you part of any business plan is a marketing plan. And what you really want to do in this particular case is give a very high level view of the market that you're going to address with your product or service. So, typically, like let's take, oh, I don't know, let's take the restaurant example. And you might look at your city. If you're living in a city, you could probably pretty much get a number for how much money is spent on dining out within a 10-mile radius of where you want to put your restaurant. And then because of the restaurant is maybe a certain type, so you've got your kind of big number, and then you're niching it down to, people that like noodles or something like that. And and then based on those numbers, those kind of big numbers, that's going to help you validate your plan. Like, is the market big enough for you to eventually make enough money to actually run the business the way you plan and grow it? And maybe you want to have some kind of a franchise, and so you might model. Maybe let's say you want to have a noodle franchise. In fact, when I was a kid, I worked at restaurants, and they turned into, it was called the Pasta House, and it was started by an Italian family, and then that grew into a set of franchises. So they had assessed the market in several regions. So that would give you a kind of a growth plan for that kind of thing. And then, so let's say you did that. Let's say, my dream is to have a restaurant chain of 20 restaurants in all of these regions. So you've got the overall restaurant market in those regions, the noodle eaters in all those regions. Now you're narrowing down to where you're going to start. It's like my city, and can I make it work in one place? So essentially what you're doing is, if you're telling your story to investors, we're going to do our pilot store proof of concept. If it works here, we're going to replicate that model, across these 20 cities, and you're all going to, make money as investors. So that's your basic market research. It's the most fundamental, very simple. Usually you'll see these things in business plans as like circles. The big circle, which is the overall market, which you're not trying to get, and smaller and smaller. And the reason this is important for marketing is because once you understand your niche, now the question is, how are you going to reach those people? Because most companies, unless you're Walmart, or you're not going to try to market to everybody because it just costs too much money. So the tighter you can niche your market for your product or service, the less it's going to cost to market to them. And then you can start getting creative with your marketing. Can we reach our market for free? What is it really going to cost? And eventually you get down to this number called, cost of acquisition. What is it going to take to get a new customer in the door? And then what's the retention rate? How many meals are they going to eat? Things like that. So I don't want to make it sound too complicated because it's really not. With my students, these are the kind of things we do literally within the first 2 to 3 weeks. We're just getting the fundamentals. So they've got that story really solid, and they've kind of blocked in the potential. Like in doing these exercises, suddenly you begin to see it's like what you don't know about being a leader, what you don't know about raising money, what you don't even know about your own business. And you start getting things really in order so that when the money shows up, you're ready to really rip and succeed.